My name is Sarah Lorenz. I'm Director of Business Development, and the topic of open innovation and collaboration actually is keeping me busy since over 6 years now, because I absolutely think that to think big, we have to think bigger than we self are, and therefore we have to see the bigger picture and see also what other people and companies and organizations are doing. And in my opinion, open innovation, collaboration, and competition is like something really fruitful to bring innovation forward. And not just in your own company, but also doing something bigger and more important with entrepreneurship. So let's jump into the topic. I think we all agree, also seeing the unicorns popping up and stuff, that the key factor for success in this digital area actually is speed and scale. We have to be quick to develop our ideas, our products. We have to evaluate quickly if they're worth it to go on with them or if they have a business model behind it. And the most important thing is it has to be business ideas that have the potential to scale up. That's my hypothesis one to start this speech. Second, I would like to start with a quote from Bill Joy, who says that nobody who you are, most of the smartest people work for someone else. And I think actually this is pretty obvious, because just if you see the statistics, there's so many clever people in this planet and they couldn't fit all in one company. But sometimes we forget there's also smart people outside our own organization. I would like to go ahead with another quote from Alex Osterwalder, known from the business model canvas and stuff, who tweeted just the other day, or last year actually, you can't pick the winners without investing in the losers, right? Then we are also like in the topic of failure culture. It is good to invent, to entrepreneurial thinking is about failure as well. So we have to try things out, and by trying things out, that also means that we need a bunch of ideas. And not all of them are going to be successful, just a few. And that means our innovation funnel has always been to be full to really generate the new unicorns in the best case. But having this like speed and scale, knowing that there are also people around us that are clever, not working in our companies, and that we need a pretty big bunch of new ideas to hit like the new big one. I would like to now step in and see the differentiation between closed and open innovation. What you see here is a funnel of a closed innovation, the closed innovation funnel. And what you see, let's take a R&D department of a certain company. So these people in the R&D department develop new ideas. So they come into the innovation funnel, go through the innovation funnel, and some of them, if they have enough potential, enter the market. So the gray line you see here is your market potential. And what is pretty interesting in this picture, it doesn't seem so because it's so simple, but the blue line actually is the corporate limit. So there's just ideas moving inside this corporate limit, but there's nothing coming in and nothing going out, just in the point where ideas enter the market. Everything is closed up. If we now have a look at open innovation, you suddenly see other dots. Also, it's not just the orange dots, it's also the blue dots. What means that suddenly taking in ideas from the outside as well, which are the blue dots, suddenly our innovation funnel gets filled up a lot more. Another nice effect of open innovation is that suddenly those corporate limits get little holes. That means during the way of an idea to a market-ready product, suddenly there are gates in between where ideas from the inside can step out and ideas from the outside can come in. And for me, the most interesting thing about this picture is that suddenly our market potential is not just a little thingy in the end, because it's also the alternative market you have around. That means by opening up, suddenly your funnel gets filled. You take people in, like the people knowledge in. Your market increases, and you have much more the possibility with more speed to find scalable ideas. So how can that look like? So there are different types of open innovation approaches, and I would like to start with the inside-in innovation. That means that before I talked about the R&D department, which develops through the whole innovation funnel, and some of the ideas have a market entry. But if we now think about that inside the company, we open up borders and suddenly leave people, for example, from the marketing department, work together with the R&D department, we have an internally exchange of ideas suddenly, and knowledge can flow. If we're combining that as well with the outside-in approach, where we take external knowledge in, suddenly our knowledge base grows. And the outside-in approach could be asking our customers, asking academia, asking other industry players, but also, and this is for me like a really nice approach, also asking the competition. But because in certain ways, I'm pretty sure that even working on the same product, there are ways to develop something bigger. A good example is, for example, the Drive Now thingy of Daimler and BMW that went together and created something bigger. And last but not least, we have inside out. So for example, we develop idea by the combination of external knowledge combined with the internal business unit, business unit knowledge, and then bring those ideas out to be exploited externally. And this is really the point of speed. Some ideas have to grow outside to get a certain speed. And if we combine all that, or we can combine all that in different manners. So I would like to show you like the different vehicles you could use for outside in, inside in, and outside out innovation. So let's take a few outside in innovation. For me, a pretty nice approach is to go into a co-creation phase. You can do that with Google sprints, design sprints, whatsoever, where you, for example, take clients in and let them bring in their ideas or how they see your product, or collaborate with the university. I had a project just last year where, for example, doctoral students in big data helped the Volkswagen Data Lab to investigate on a certain topic, for example. So really combine this knowledge. In an inside-in approach to really opening up, you could, for example, this is more like in the beginning of a funnel, do an internal hackathon, really ask all your employees, and not just the ones from the R&D department, to come up with new ideas, with new solutions. And you could then take the best solutions to bring them in an entrepreneurship program. I did that for BMW, for example, where the best employee ideas get into a fixed program, which are 3 months, and where internal employees have the possibility to work and act like an internal startup. And using this internal surrounding combined with startup methodology gives us the chance to speed up and develop in a much quicker way than we're used to in a typical R&D department. And then we could take this idea, for example, by making a spin-off of a certain company, which then can be exploited independently of the mothership. Or, and this is also, again, a little bit in the beginning, again, of the innovation funnel, to develop internally pain points, which can be then part of an open innovation challenge, where the outer surrounding has the chance to bring answers to certain before defined pain points of the company. I also say that it's not you can't do like everything of that, and every company and every organization should see where is like the best fit to their strategy as well. So for example, if you combine crowdsourcing with then an entrepreneurship program and part of it gets a spin out, we then create an open innovation value. And that is on the one hand speed, as I said before. In this digital era, we have to be quick. You save resources or you share resources. You can really identify the scaling ones. You focus on people, not just on your own people, but also from the knowledge externally. So you really generate diversity and creativity. You can build synergies, and there's also certain effect of cost efficacy, of course. To build all that up, in my opinion, there are also some key points you should really take into the view if you set up open innovation programs. So on the one hand, of course, it's strategy. Please ask yourself before, what is the goal? Why do I want to do that? And who is the key audience I want to head to, right? The second one, really get your structures clean. Have a process to then, when new ideas come in or new ideas from an open innovation process gets developed, please ask yourself how or what is the process to evaluate the good ideas and kick as well this ones out which don't have a potential, and use the right tool to do that. And especially in collaborations and in competition, all these things are based on trust. And you don't want, if you once work together, want to hang around with the legal complications. So it's really an advice to get the legal stuff clean in the beginning, like, for example, who gets the intellectual property rights, stuff like that. Have a clean setup of the legal things to then have a good common ground to innovate with the base of trust. And fourth part, for me, really important is culture, how to establish the commitment of the employees and also the people outside of your organization. Give them incentives and also show them that what you're doing actually brings benefit to you, and don't take them for granted. That's pretty important. So having all that, I would also like to share like an example where it went a bit bad with the open collaboration. And that is Henkel asked the crowd, all their customers, if they want to come up with a washing soap with a new smell and like a new picture. And actually what they did, they shouted out, and everything could bring in like a new marketing phase for Priel. And actually and then all the people could vote for the best ones. And actually the ones that won was the Priel smelling like chicken or smelling like barbecue. And you see that is not really a thing you want to go ahead with as a company. So what they did wrong was, for example, they didn't really get their strategy right. So they didn't evaluate in the beginning who's the key audience we want to face. And actually also in the part of process, they did a little mistake, because instead of evaluating before which are the best ones, and give maybe the best 10 options to vote for the crowd, they just let the crowd vote for everyone. And then, in the end, you have a Priel hand soap for like chicken smell, right? A really, in my opinion, nice example for a successful one where I had the pleasure to be part of here in Munich, BMW and Siemens thought it would be nice to have a cross-industry AI hackathon. And I mean, BMW is pretty big, Siemens is pretty big. Both of them have a lot of data. But what they decided is that BMW gives some data, Siemens gives some data, and they put it all together. And in a 27-hour hackathon of BMW and Siemens, 50 high potential participants out of data scientists, postdocs, and so on could work on challenges which were given by BMW and Siemens together on topics like detecting patterns in vehicle log data, trainable object detection from mobile cameras. And we had done a final event, pitches, award ceremony, 150 guests. And actually what the outcome was is that on the one hand, BMW and Siemens worked closely together, and they gave like a nice playing ground for high potential in the whole ecosystem to come up with new ideas. And they also give kind of a sign to the Munich ecosystem that collaborating is something beautiful and absolutely possible. I think I'm running out of time as well. So I want to thank you for listening. Let's please stay in contact. And as I understood, there's also a round table later in 20 minutes where you can ask me any further question. But if there's no time, please just contact me on LinkedIn.